What do you think of me? What do I think of you? Better yet, why am I asking you that? Well, did you know that statistically, we have all judged each other within the first 7 seconds of seeing each other? We've all judged the people next to us, behind us, around us, within only 7 seconds. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, considering that we've been doing this since the dawn of time. It's kind of a human response to danger. We use it to recognize danger, to know when someone is acting suspicious or off. But there is a problem when people don't use this correctly, when people use it to harm others or judge others in a bad way without even knowing them. For example, when I was in school, I was perceived as a weak crybaby. My fellow classmates didn't exactly think I was very smart, and this was all just from looking at me. Now, it might have been true at first, but the problem with that is that they didn't see me grow. They didn't see me work on myself. They didn't see me build myself up. And that's a common problem, is when somebody who is perceived in a certain way grows, even if that perception is true, they grow. Because humans are made to change. And if you don't accept that growth, or if you don't notice the growth, then you can only expect misunderstandings. It's not just for human beings, however. Sometimes this happens for things that, I don't know, that people use, technology. You've all heard the older generations sort of rant about, how it was better back in their day, how they didn't rely on all this tech. But the fact is that you shouldn't exactly compare eras, considering everything is different, and considering that we will always be growing. Our era will be growing and changing constantly. And something that fits into that is video games. You've all heard the headlines, the clickbait. Video games cause violence. Well, I, for one, have never played Mario and thought I should hurt somebody. I don't know about you, maybe you have, but I haven't. But what the fact is with that is that people ignore the good things about it. People ignore the educational advantages for video games, how it can help you with hand-eye coordination, problem solving. It builds skills in teamwork, on online games, and it enables you to have tactics and know how to solve certain situations, and it actually sharpens your senses in a way. And not only that, it gives people emotional advantages. People who haven't had that great of a life, people that don't like themselves, they can project themselves to another character, so someone that they want to be, so they can work to become like that person. And so that they can escape their horrible life or bad life or whatever, or average life for that matter, to something more exciting, something more better, to exchange problems that they can't solve into points or digital data, so they can actually have a sense of achievement through video games and through the goals in the video games. Not many people realize this, and people scapegoat video games as a way of blaming it for their actions, even though it has a great deal of advantages. And when no one seems to recognize this, that's when bad things start happening. Judgments, perception. So imagine if our world was filled with people, and we all thought the same thing of the first impressions of what we saw. Well, what I mean by that is, what if we all lived with the first impression of somebody forever? We can't change it. What if that happened? It would be dull, wouldn't it? No one would be talking to each other because we all wouldn't like each other, even though we don't know each other. Everyone's been perceived. I mean, you've probably, imagine what happens with your friends. The people you're friends with now, they probably didn't think that well of you then, but but if they lived with that perception forever instead of talking to you, then they probably wouldn't have been friends with you, would they? I mean, you remember? Do you remember the first impression you had of like your friend or someone that you know? Some of you do, yeah. And compare that for what you think of them now. Is it the same? No, it's not. Humans are made to grow and to change. And if we don't recognize that, then the world is just going to be dull, isn't it? So do me a favour during the next break. I think it's the lunch break, actually. Better get some nice food down your bellies. I want you all to talk to each other. Just a little bit. And someone that you don't know. For example, someone at the front might not know someone at the back, or vice versa. So get up and talk to each other. It won't hurt you unless you actually try. I mean, what are the chances that your first impressions of them are the same? It's very slim. Thank you.